afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the first Wizards Outlook of the 2022-2023 season. As you can see, Cardell's and Capital One Media Day just concluded to kick off this year. All right, Cardell was seeing some of the quotes from a lot of the players today. I guess I want to start with Brad. Just your thoughts on what he's been saying. I know a lot of people asked some folks about, the piece that came out with John yesterday in the Players Tribune, which was very deep, very heavy piece. I guess we could start there, just his comments on that, because we heard a lot of stuff from outside people about a contentious relationship that never was,
Right.
and then moving on to, I guess my second question would be, we talked about it the other night. He's the guy officially. Contract says so. Where's his mindset at media day?
Well, as for the John Wall piece, yeah, he was asked about that, and he said it went pretty much as John, described it, how he detailed it. It wasn't much to say. He said he was going through a tough time. His mom passed. His grandmother passed a little ways after that, and Bill kind of got a taste of that. He said last November when his grandmother passed, and he had to take some time off, man, and he said when you equate all the everything that John went through, and then you take away basketball because he was injured, you know, you can only imagine it's chaos. Any athlete that played for the love and that's taken away, that's tough as it is. But like Brad said, John played to create a better situation for his mom and his family. So that's gone. So that was a big part of his motivation. So where can it's like where we go from here. And like he said, he just ain't say much. He just comforted on him. Just he just tried to be a brother in that moment. Nothing was needed to be said, nothing could be said because it was deep. So he said he's just happy that he's in a better place and back on the floor, man. Excited to see what he do. And as for his mindset this summer, obviously getting healthy. Had wrist surgery. Took he said it took 4 months. Just getting a range of motion, strengthening it up and whatnot. He said he's good now. Playing pickup and stuff, getting ramping things up, getting ready. Sound like he'll be playing in Japan. When they play Golden State in the preseason. But another thing he said going to the finals. He was there in person. He got to see his understudy in the sense Jason Tatum playing on that stage. And then it said it hit him different when he's like, yo, I gotta get on the stage. I gotta be able to show my game on the stage. I gotta get here. So he said he don't even care what outside people think. He's not even on that. He said his whole mission now is to raise that Larry O'Brien, bring that Larry O'Brien here to DC. And he said that's the only thing left. He's been all star, been scoring champ, and all NBA. He done did all the individual stuff since the 11th year. And this around the time we gotta start seeing like, all right, I done did all that, but it's still something missing, still something empty. You know what I mean? And we all know everybody want to be the best, and the only way you can be the best is win that trophy. So he said that's what his mentality, that's what his mindset is on, and he's locked in, man. What I'm saying? You could tell it did hit him a different way, not even a bad way, just motivation. Like, yo, I gotta get on this stage because, and it's like, damn, my little brother already on the stage and showcasing what he has. A guy I helped raise. I'm trying to get there.
All right, you talk about Brad from his perspective, the year 11. You got some other talented folks on this team that are kind of in the middle of their careers looking for, I guess, for better lack of words, to find solid footing for where their place is in this league. Where that ranges from. Even somebody like Monte Morris, right? Getting a
Right.
chance thrust as a starter, but you want that solid ground to get solid footing is what you are as a starter. You got folks like Kuz, and you got not the other end of the spectrum, but folks maybe a step or two behind where Rui, what like
Yeah.
to make that initial, dig your feet in. What are you in this league? Same thing for someone like Denny. Just with things hearing them folks talk today. Just again, like, what were you able to take away?
Well, since you brought up Rui last, since he's fresh, with Rui, he said that one thing that I don't think people understand. This is why it's good to cover the team and really get a different perspective. Rui said this is literally the first all season he has had in his life because in Japan they go school year round playing basketball. He hasn't had a break like in his life. So it's a time where he can kind of first time it's like he could decompress and kind of just take a little step back a little bit, reevaluate things. And he said the main thing with him this summer was improving his 3 point shooting. We all know his game is mid range, so sharpening that up. Definitely trying to just extend his range so he can open things up for him to get in the mid range to do what he do. That's all it really is, just compliment what he do. He said he was also in the weight room too. I know he talked about which forward spot do he like. He said it really doesn't matter. It's just wherever West Unseld need him, depending on the lineup. He said besides, and the way the game is played today, the 3 and the 4 is pretty much the same thing. It's not like back in the day where the power forward was really a physical power forward. They all both kind of similar skill sets. Maybe the four guys a little bit bigger, taller, or something like that, depending on the lineup. But that's what he's speaking on. Who else did you say?
Sorry, pretty much brought up the other forwards essentially. Mentioned Kuz and Denny.
Uh, um, Danny's coming. He hasn't spoke yet. We'll talk about him more probably tomorrow at the first day of training camp. Kuz, look, just business as usual. He showed that he can be a guy that they can kind of win games for you. Like literally get on his back and win games. He showed that last year. He had some monster games. The thing with him is like as a team, you gotta get better defensively, as we've been saying all season throughout last season. Man, they gotta clean that side up. I'm not even worried about offense. They have way too many playmakers and scores. That's easy. All they need to do is just play together. But defensively, they gotta really lock in on that. Especially with how deep the East is now in series. So it's really not a lot of. It's no nights off, to be honest. But no, it's just cool, just fine tuning. He played, pick up down out of LA, all around the country doing this thing. Just sharpening up the tools, man. But he definitely, you know, mentioned defense a lot. So I can tell that's what he's trying to lock in at. And then that's what training camps for, build that chemistry up. Everybody's here. And then just go from there. Um trying to think Kristaps Porzingis. There you go. Porzingis healthy. Wes Unseld took the trip out to Latvia when they was playing in the World Cup with everybody. Obviously, I watched the games late at night just to see how him and Denny look. And they look good. You know what I mean? And he said it meant a lot that Wes came out there to just bond with him, just to get to know him, get a feel for who he is better, so he can better coach him. And he said by him doing that makes me want to go all out for him because the coach could have did something else with his time. You know what I'm saying? But he came out there for me, and that means a lot. So. And I'm pretty sure that was part of the motivation for Wes. I said, coaches do stuff like they extend themselves. So when game time comes and they ask you to extend yourself, you shouldn't have a problem. And if you do have a problem, then that tells the coach what type of character you have, and you probably won't be on the team too much longer. And also the elephant in the room, man, him just staying healthy, man. We all know what his talent is. Him just staying healthy. I know a lot of guys feel like he's inconsistent, but you're gonna be inconsistent when you're in and out of the lineup. It's hard to just maintain the rhythm when you playing 2 games, playing 2 weeks, and you out. It's not realistic to think he could be what his potential is. 2010 guy, a 2010 guy. So look, one thing they all harp on is how tall they are, how big they are. You know what I'm saying? I think Monte Morris said he's the smallest guy on the team at 6'2". It goes up from there. So they got a lot of length, a lot of wings, a lot of versatility, and a lot of athleticism. So if their defense don't, pick up, man, that's on them. It's definitely like that. And that's what Monte said he's there for. Will they're there for. They play for him out in Denver. That's what they're there for. To kind of, especially for the young guys or guys that's still not quite getting the message from. That's what I said. They could break it down in players' term and hopefully speed that up so they can all get on the same page.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about both Monte and Will about what they're gonna be asked, and you pretty much answered it in terms of helping to just accelerate that process and for everyone to get more comfortable. Under West, they're the only two to play for him before. We're
And,
used to him.
and just to add to that, he said during games we gonna hear Will a lot. He talks a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's an issue, we talked about last year, like some uncomfortable conversations need to be had to get you over the hump. That won't be a problem for Will. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what Monte pretty much was saying. It's gonna be said. And there ain't much people can say because he's a vet. You know. Then on top of that, I said he's the microwave, and we know that. Watching him in the area, what I'm saying, growing up. When he get going, he could put points on the board in a hurry. So, and then the thing I always loved about Will is his versatility. He can run point, he can be a two, and he can be a three, and then defend on those positions as well. So that's why uh, what Marlo said on the wire is one of them good problems. Well, that's what Wes said is one of them good problems to have, where he got to figure out lineups for different situations depending on the team and stuff like that. But it's a lot of coaches in the league that would love to have that problem, and they kind of got to stay stationary in a sense. So, it's gonna be fun to see.
For sure. Like you said, that's the important thing. He has so many different options.
hmm
And again, from here on out, from that perspective, it's just about utilizing which weapon at the given time, per the team they're playing, the situation, all that. Look, man, appreciate your coverage from Media Day thus far. I know you said just a couple people that still have to go. We'll be back tomorrow for Wizards Outlook after the first training camp practice, and we'll continue to do that as we go forward. But appreciate you guys for tuning in, and officially welcome to the new year of Wizards basketball, essentially.